Greetings, my fellow creatures of the night. My name is Rich Luna and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today is part 2 of the History of Me series, and in this part I will be explaining what sort of influenced the piano and keyboard sounds that I had in my early music from 2007 till around 2009. I have my handy dandy iPad here that has all my notes on it because I can't remember anything for the life of me, so I have to write everything down. Anyways, back in the day, around like 8-10 years ago, I would be listening to a lot of video game music, like of the horror and fantasy genre, and a lot of these games that I would play, they would have such amazing music, and I would end up listening to the music rather than playing the game, to be honest with you. And then there was a lot of soundtracks from epic movies, and that had a lot of like cinematic music, and it was also very emotional. And so that became part of my influence as well. I would also tend to listen to a lot of classical and Baroque music because I was learning that kind of stuff in violin, and one of the main composers that I would listen to would be Bach, the greatest composer of all time, in case anybody doesn't know. And a lot of his stuff was just amazing, so I really took that in. And then there was also stuff by bands and artists which were also influenced by the same sort of stuff, and it would just all sound like an amalgamation of everything that I just named. And so I would transfer that over to piano and keyboard. And I wanted to go into the depths. I kind of wanted to go into the abyss with the three things that I just mentioned, which are video game music, soundtrack music, and band released music. So I was mainly influenced by inspired, influence, whatever you want to call it, by 3 video games. And one of those was Swagman, and there you go, Swagman. So I picked this up at a FuncoLand. It's formerly FuncoLand. It's now known as GameStop, and it sort of attracted me because of the face on the front. It's sort of a weird, crazy boogeyman-looking guy, and it's a horror 2D. I don't want to say platformer, like action-adventure game, sort of reminiscent to Zelda: A Link to the Past on Super Nintendo, and a lot of those games like it. This has a horror, kind of a horror fantasy theme going on with it, and basically these 2 kids were reading from, I don't know, a magical book or something, and everything in the book comes to life and sort of whisks them away into this nether realm. And the Swagman, who is the, I guess, the antagonist of the game, he's sort of the ruler of this world, and captures this fairy, which is sort of like the goodness in the dark place of that world. So he captures the fairy and puts her in a glass bottle or glass container, and they have to go and find and release all these different fairies from the different parts of the Swagman realm. I'll just call it the Swagman realm because I don't really know what to call it. But the thing is, it was so scratched up to death when I got it that I couldn't play it past probably the 2nd or 3rd level. It was that bad. But I ended up downloading the soundtrack to the game just by putting it in my computer, and then it automatically downloads, or it lets you automatically download the entire track listing. And I would listen to the whole thing like day and night, and oh my god, it was amazing. So yeah, sort of this like innocent, playful, yet sinister kind of vibe going on with it. And so yeah, this game, I want to get it again because honestly I want to play it, but I can't find it anywhere for a decent price. And this game pretty much rare. So the second game on my list here is Castlevania. So Castlevania is a fantastic series, and the music that is composed for that series is just as fantastic, if not more. I haven't really played a lot of the games, but the games that I have played are The Adventure for Game Boy, Curse of Darkness for PlayStation 2, and then you have the two Lords of Shadow games for PlayStation 3. And this music just captivated my soul, I guess you would say, because even though I haven't played all of the games, I would end up listening to a lot of the music on YouTube for those games. And I really, really like the classical and heavy metal mixture that they did in their later games. And I sort of soaked that all up when I was younger. And I guess it became part of my keyboard and piano sound. So the third game on my list is Final Fantasy. Now, in my opinion, Final Fantasy is just as good of a series as Castlevania. And how I got into this series was, I had a friend back in high school who sold me Final Fantasy IX. And being that I didn't know anything about the series back then, sort of intrigued me. So I bought it, I played it, and I loved it. And honestly, after finishing the game, I wanted to check out more from the series because of the music. I played a few games out of the series, but not all of them, just like Castlevania. And the music is absolutely phenomenal. And it's something that I integrated into my keyboard and piano influences. And this is one of my favorite games, actually. Crisis Core. This is sort of a prequel to Final Fantasy VII, in case you didn't know. So yeah, that does it for the video game portion of this video. And what I wanted to mention as well were the band and artist influences that I also have. Let's talk about Midnight Syndicate for a second. Midnight Syndicate is an American Gothic duo, and they sort of do video game-esque kind of music. I picked up a CD from Hot Topic from them, and this was released in 2005. It was called The 13th Hour, and it sort of caught my eye because when I was doing my band thing back before all this gothic solo acoustic stuff, I wrote a song called 13th Hour. So that was the one album that sort of furthered the sound that I wanted to create for myself, just because I thought it was simply amazing and fascinating. And then there was also Dark Sanctuary from France that really influenced me. And these guys, they did like a I think they're still around. They do a melancholic dark gothic sound, and they have a female vocalist. And one of the albums that really spoke to me was Les Memoirs. I don't think that's how you say it, but they had a song on there called La Clameur du Silence. I'm totally butchering this. La Clameur du Silence. So I said that the best I could. Come on, guys, give me a break. This was one of the songs that sort of jumped out at me from the get-go. And I just love the atmosphere that they put into their music. It was simply, I use that word simply a lot, don't I? Simply amazing. So the two bands that I just mentioned, I would listen to their material over and over again until I couldn't stand it anymore. Well, actually I could stand it because I never really got tired of it. But yeah, I think these two just really influenced the piano sound that I had, which was sort of like arpeggiated and atmospheric. Everything was just atmospheric, man. So the third biggest artist on my list is Mustis. Mustis. He goes by Mustis. and he played in Dimmu Borgir, black metal outfit, from 1998 till 2009, and that's a little over 10 years. So I implore you to check out his the way he plays his piano, because his skill is out the roof. And honestly, when I first heard him, I was like, who is this guy? I don't want to hear the guitar, I don't want to hear the drums, I don't want to hear any of that, I just want to hear him. And I hear he's in a different band now, but I think it's Suspiria or something like that. But this guy, he influenced me to the highest degree. So when I incorporated his style into my music, it automatically made it sound better with what I had already, which wasn't much. So that is it for the history of Rich Luna Part 2, covering the piano and keyboard influences. So I will be making more of these just as soon as I come up with different things to talk about in each of them. If you enjoyed this video, then feel free to give it a big thumbs up. I highly appreciate it. And if you want to see more from me every Friday, then go ahead and annihilate that like button! Obliterate it! Till the ends of the earth, and I will see you next week, guys. Horns up!